Madam Vice President, Donald Trump agreed to 3 debates. Will you be participating in all 3?
I've always been on record. I am looking forward to debating Donald Trump, and we have a date of September 10th. I hear he is finally committed to it. I'm looking forward.
What about the other 2?
Let's make sure we get this photo of everyone. Look right here, right there.
Hi, I'm Nat.
And I'm Guy.
And today we want to talk about Kamala Harris finally deciding to debate Trump, even though she didn't want to. And I mean, we understand why she didn't want to.
This should be a good one. Okay, so what do you think about this Trump-Harris debate? I didn't think it was going to happen for a while there.
Well, I mean, she kept refusing and refusing to even show up in any kind of public setting that wasn't super pre-planned. And then she kept saying that, well, her team kept saying that there might have not be a debate.
Well, she has no policy platform still, which is crazy because she's going to be the first presidential candidate in history to maybe not have a policy platform. And that's because they have a coalition of all these different ideas, from the Jewish people to the Muslims in Minnesota to the LGBTQ community. If she puts out a policy, she's going to lose a group of these voters, and she needs every single vote she can get.
And that's the fault of the Democrats, because their playbook has always been to grab all these little sectors of the population that are disenfranchised, according to them, tell them that they're victims, and then have them vote for the Democrats because they're going to help them, which they never do.
Well, I don't know if it's always been the playbook. Since Barack Obama came into power. It's such a shame because he had this message of unification, and people really believed that at the time. But when he came in, it was like, let's divide everybody into racial groups and everything else, and then make a coalition. This was the new playbook for the Democratic Party. Before that, it was Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton had a unifying message for the Democratic Party. And overall, I thought he was a good president, but he had some flaws as well. But the Democratic Party went in a completely different direction once it was the age of Obama.
And I mean, we've seen these fracturings within the Democrat Party, but we'll continue to see them, especially now that Kamala Harris has picked Tim Walz as her vice president and the vice presidential candidate from Minnesota. I mean, there was a lot of talk that she was going to choose Josh Shapiro, but because of the last name and because of the one thing he said in the 90s in a college publication where he kind of supported Israel, well, they can't lose their huge pro-Palestine voter base, but at the same time, they can't lose their huge liberal Jewish
also, they couldn't have
and then they have the alphabet community that they also have to take care of.
Well, also, they couldn't have it be Harris Shapiro because Shapiro's a Jewish last name. Exactly. And although Republicans don't care if they have a Jewish last name, Democrats, if they see a Jewish last name on the ticket, the Muslim constituency is not going to vote for him, and neither is the LGBTQ plus community. So they really picked Walz maybe for his last name.
And his last name, and the fact that he does have, I mean, he is from Minnesota, so he is from the middle of the country, and the states that are, I mean, kind of related to Trump's VP candidate, which is J.D. Vance. He is incredibly radical. He's passed some insane transgender laws for especially minors. And he also has, I made a video about this last year. One of the people in his cabinet now, who is a man who is confused enough to think he's a woman, tried to propose legislation that I can't talk about on YouTube, but let's just say that would allow adults to interact with minors in inappropriate ways.
Basically,
and he wanted to push that through as well.
Minnesota is absolutely crazy because Ilhan Omar is a representative of Minnesota, and she represents the Muslim constituency, which has very radical ideas on what they want, on what they're specifically voting for as well.
And in Minnesota, it's a huge, a significant portion of the population. It's a big sector there. But it is crazy that, I mean, while they have to cater to the Muslims and they also have to cater to the alphabet people, those two groups completely clash most of the time. And they're going to keep having trouble trying to unite them because their core values are completely upside down.
Well, Kamala Harris is clashing internally. There's the debate, is she black? Is she Indian? Is she Asian? Nobody seems to know.
Does she have a speech impediment? Is she not that quick on the uptake?
Well, what do you think is going to happen in this Trump debate? Because I think she's going to try to frame this as the angle of she's the California prosecutor and he's the criminal. But if Trump is smart enough, he's going to be able to bring up the fact that she did so many radical things when she was the prosecutor, like keeping people in prison past their due date and using them for basically slave labor.
And as firefighters.
there was a slew of prosecution, what?
Prosecution?
A slew of prosecutions that she did specifically against minority communities like the Black community and the Hispanic community, where if this is brought up in the debate, it's going to completely backfire on her. And I'm interested to see if she is Black or she is Indian. So hopefully Trump asks her.
Well, I mean, she can always say she's biracial, and that's fine. That would cater to the alphabet community and the Indian one and the Black one and etc. But I mean, Trump could also go after the fact that, number one, she was not voted in, she was appointed. She essentially didn't get there by in a democratic way. Nobody voted for her to be in there. Not even for VP, because Biden needed somebody that wasn't white and wasn't a man, so she was the next best option. She was doing terribly before when she was running up against Biden in the last election, and then he ended up picking her because woman and because Black/Indian.
Well, I think the debate's going to be decided by Kamala Harris's reactions. She's a woman, so she doesn't want to seem like she's overly aggressive. And so usually when a woman politician doesn't want to seem overly aggressive, like it happened with Hillary and it happens with Harris, they have this laugh. And Kamala Harris's laugh is legendary.
You know, we have to stay woke. Like, everybody needs to be woke. And you can talk about if you're the wokest or woker, but just stay more woke than less woke. Yeah.
It's clipped over and over. So when Trump starts making witty jokes or he starts coming at her hard, she's either going to laugh or she's going to get angry. Either way, it's not going to look good on her. So she's kind of backed into a corner based on her reactions.
But I mean, at this point, I do maybe agree a little bit with Tim Pool's theory, where he says that maybe Kamala isn't really laughing, but she's having some sort of nervous tick because she's incredibly nervous and stressed out and incompetent and anxious. So, I mean, we'll have to wait and see. I don't think she'll ever say, unless she wants to use it as victim points for, oh, vote for me, because just like Joe Biden, I have a stuttering issue. But again, she's weak, and I have a whole different opinion about women
whatever
being
happens,
president, but
whatever happens in these debates, the next day they're going to say Kamala won, Kamala won, Kamala won. And the only reason they didn't say that for Joe was because they were trying to
get him out.
They were trying to get him out. And the way they got him out was an insurrection in itself. They were threatening him with the 25th Amendment. At least this is what was leaked in the press. And so they said if he didn't step down, that they were going to 25th Amendment him. And that's a coup.
But I think, for example, Trump handled that debate really well. Number one, because they weren't allowing them to have mics on, so he couldn't, talk over Joe Biden, which probably would have helped Joe Biden. But he took this angle of feeling almost pity for Joe, and that made him look like a caring, man that doesn't want to be here hammering on this doddering old man because he should be in a home somewhere eating ice cream. And I think he handled that perfectly.
Continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look, we had the safest border in the history of our country. The border, all he had to do was leave it. All he had to do was leave it.
If he can handle Kamala, not like that, but understand what the weak points are with her, then, he's going to come out on top.
Well, hopefully he learned a lesson from that last one because he didn't willingly want the mics cut off. So, but it turned out really well for him. It made him look very presidential. So if he realizes that he should make his points and then maybe have a little bit more silence, not to interrupt, it's going to make him look even more presidential.
And maybe let Kamala laugh hysterically and look like a cackling, crazy hyena.
And you're going to wait, and I'm just waiting for the moment she's going to say, I'm talking.
Yes.
Her I'm a strong Black woman moment.
Yes.
She's going to have that or a few of those, and the press is going to run wild with that.
Of course. And another debate I'm really looking forward to would be the Tim Walz, JD Vance debate, because right now there's a lot coming out about Tim Walz, and he is a veteran, but they're saying that there's stolen valor there, and that.
But are they going to debate? I haven't heard anything.
I haven't heard anything yet. I mean, maybe it's come out. I don't know, but I really want to see that because it's two polar opposites.
Well, JD
trying
Vance,
to go after the exact same people.
The issue with this is JD Vance is a phenomenal debater, and he's known for this. He's known for facts and logic. It's much different than Trump, and I don't think Walz wants to get into that firefight with him. So I think they're going to avoid that. And Kamala Harris, I believe, said she's only doing one debate with Trump. So they're already trying to limit the debates. And I think they're trying to limit the debates so they can limit the knowledge of what their platform actually is. And if they put Tim Walz in a debate, he's going to start speaking about their platform.
Yeah.
And that's going to start isolating some of their base, like we said before.
Yeah, they can't have any more isolation of the base, especially because, I mean, they're gearing up maybe for war, be it civil or overseas or both.
Well, it's crazy as well because all these YouTubers and influencers are coming out showing that Kamala Harris is attempting to pay them. And these are non-political influencers that she's trying to get just because they have a lot of followers. Mm-hmm. And these people are taking the Michael Jordan approach where they don't want to get political because they want their liberal fans and their conservative fans. So it's a good playbook for them. But she has a secret service calling these people. That has to be somewhat intimidating.
And I don't know if it's even allowed, but I mean, it just shows the desperation they're at. And I really think that they're going to use her to be a throwaway candidate, or at least I hope so. Again, I don't think she can win if things are like play out in a clean, transparent manner. But I mean, again, I don't agree that women should be president.
If she wins, because she's so incompetent, and the poll numbers that are coming out, CNN's putting a poll out, and if it's not favorable to her, they're not inviting those pollsters to come back. They're switching polling companies. So it's this huge bias that's happening in the media right now, and people aren't going to believe if she wins, it could spark a civil war. And I know a lot of people have been talking about civil war lately, and I hate to take Tim Pool's line, but if she wins, who knows what could happen.
I mean, the US, Canada, everywhere is on the brink. I mean, we also just talked about Britain. Everywhere is on the brink, and the only people that can stop it are the ones that are willing to do so. And I think less and less politicians and people at the top are willing to do so because they could benefit from that. That's why they're stoking that division even more.
Well, all I can do is, I think Trump's the best candidate, and I'm interested to see what happens in these debates. But let's say goodbye to the people.
But for now, thank you for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe. We would love to start streaming and maybe building up this platform a little bit more. Maybe saying the things you can't or won't say because, you still have jobs and stuff to do.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end. We always appreciate it. Now, have a good one. Adios.